A cell phone, also known as a cellular phone or mobile phone, is a wireless device that allows people to call or receive calls from one another via radio links. Named for the honeycombed network of cells that are created by each tower in the network, cell phones allow people to place phone calls without being tethered to a phone line. The invention of wireless communication, telephones, and radio technology paved the way for the development of cell phones. The first handheld mobile phone was demonstrated in public by Martin Cooper in 1973. However, it wasn't until 10 years later, in 1983, the first mobile phones were released onto the market. They were known as analog cell phones. An analog cell phone cost about $4,000, weighed up to 2 pounds, and only had a battery life of 30 minutes. The second generation, or 2G cell phones, were digital cell phones which made better use of the signal between phone and network. Signals were compressed and allowed more phone calls to be made using the same bandwidth. The third generation, or 3G cell phones, have replaced 2G ones and are the norm on today's market. 3G cell phones are capable of transferring large amounts of data compared to older generation phones. The major factor of the cell phone system is the cell. A cell tower in the middle of a cell sends the communications it receives to the local central office, or the mobile telephone switching office, and transfers it to the network, then to other phones. The phone itself is like a two-way radio that operates on two different frequencies to send and receive your voice communications at the same time. When you move around in the network, you are handed off from cell tower to cell tower. The central office keeps track of each device within its area so it can ring you or deliver your data, texts, and emails. Although the most basic use of a cell phone is to be a voice communication device for two-way calls, over time, it has evolved quite a bit. A large impact to our everyday lives is the introduction of the smartphone. By squeezing in more powerful hardware and making better use of the signal, a cell phone has become essentially a small computer that fits in the pocket. People nowadays use their cell phones for a multitude of reasons, least of all for making phone calls. For example, one common use of a cell phone is simply to get up-to-the-minute weather reports. As networking technology advances, a cell phone is like a Swiss Army knife, taking the place of many objects such as a watch, camera, book, and even a laptop. How many people do you know have cell phones? Perhaps the easier question is, how many people do you know who don't have cell phones? According to data released in 2013 from the Pew Internet and American Life Project, 91% of American adults own a cell phone. However, many teenagers and children these days own cell phones as well. Cell phones have become inundated into every level of our society by becoming extremely affordable and easy to use.
Radio frequency waves emitted from cell phones are said to harm our bodies in some way, such as breaking down tissue, hurting brain cells, or even causing cancer. The FCC and the FDA, however, have long held that the amount of radio waves a cell phone emits is so minimal that only in very large doses could a user experience health problems. On the other hand, the use of cell phones while driving is a more critical issue. It has become such a huge problem that many countries, including the United States, have made laws prohibiting the use of a cell phone while operating a motor vehicle. Phone service providers have embarked upon campaigns asking the public to take pledges that they won't text and drive. Some commercials on TV also advocate awareness of the dangers of operating a cell phone while driving through people who have suffered severe injuries. The next issue is security. Recent studies have shown that cybercrime and malicious coding have been affecting more than just computers. Mobile devices and mobile applications are now the target of a large portion of cyber attacks. One of the main reasons is because more users of technology are switching to and relying on mobile devices and mobile applications to conduct both personal and business transactions. According to the FBI, 70% of cybercrimes are financially related. Many people these days use cell phones to conduct banking, online shopping, and paying bills. As cellular devices are not as secure as PCs can be, these attacks have the potential to cause great damage. If precautions are not taken, employees may be putting not only their information on the line, but also endangering information and networks belonging to business owners. This is a risk that needs to be addressed by companies who not only allow employees to use personal devices for business, but also provide a device that can connect to the network. To defend from these dangers, mobile devices can use safety measures such as virtual private network. In the future, cell phones may no longer be used primarily as a two-way voice communication. Cell phones are already used as tiny mobile computers that allow us to play games and stay connected with social media networks. They may become personal assistants, managing many of the minor tasks in our day for us without requiring our attention. Cell phones may not even look like phones eventually. Companies are trying to introduce wearable phone technology, most commonly expressed as a watch. However, innovations in other fields have led some to the notion that phones may become invisible altogether with the use of technological implants. Subvocalization and microvibrations may lead cell phones to become a synthetic telepathy, allowing users to relay thought indirectly into digital signals and transmit them along a network directly into somebody's ear. Whatever the cell phones of the future may look like, nearly everyone can agree that the device will become smaller and more powerful as the lines between computers and cell phones blur.